What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Terror Table for episode 115. We are your horror podcast that you go to for horror movie reviews, horror movie conversations, and all things horror stuff. We just talk about horror stuff.
That was probably your most cohesive intro.
You
were doing really good.
Almost.
Then the end,
I let it fall apart at the end.
And stuff.
Yeah. But today we're going to be doing our normal thing. We're going to talk about what we've been seeing, and then we're going to talk about some news, and then we are going to cap everything off with an in-depth talk about all things extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile, which is the new Zac Efron, Ted Bundy movie that hit Netflix on Friday.
Yeah.
So last week we kicked off our found footage series with our friend Thomas, who came on for an episode on the tunnel. We're going to be continuing that. This is just going to be a little brief hiatus. We're just
kind of a filler episode.
Yeah, filler episode because we have a third co-host, Diego, and he couldn't be here today. He's in Toronto helping out with a music festival, and he'll be back next week, hopefully, to continue on with our series. But we are going to be covering next week. We're going to do my pick for found footage.
Whoa. You haven't even said who we are. You've said who Diego is.
Right. Okay, so there's Diego, and I am, if this is your first time listening, it takes more than 115 episodes to get the hang of this, apparently.
Sometimes you just got to iron things out for years.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully in the fourth year we'll figure this out. But I am Mitch, one of your regular hosts, and with me, as always...
I'm Buzi.
But yeah, so no, we're just doing this as a terror duo today. We're just... old-fashioned. This is just old...
Yeah, we just have to sit across the table and stare into each other's eyes.
This is definitely the least, I don't know, this is like the missionary position of set up for our episode. You know what I mean? This is the most basic format.
Yeah, nothing really fancy. We might spit on you a bit.
Yeah,
whatever.
Exactly. Lick it and stick it, like Lana, like Lana said. Did you see any of that stuff on Twitter? Okay.
Oh, I haven't been on Twitter in a while.
Okay, because I announced on Twitter. Well, I didn't announce.
You announced?
Well, I said this was after our episode with Darcy on Night of the Virgin.
Yeah.
And I just because the next day I was like, I remembered something from our episode, and I said, I can't believe Buzi admitted to sniffing panties on air.
I did not.
No, but
I condoned it.
Exactly. You sort of justified it a little bit. But a whole bunch of people came to your aid.
Really?
Yeah,
I was just trying to be empathetic.
Yeah, well,
you know?
Lana was telling me not to kink shame you.
That's what I was going to say. Like, don't kink, it's not even, no one's getting hurt by that either.
Well, not that we know of, but we know there's probably a lot of serial killers who sniff panties.
That's true.
I don't know, if everything is fine in moderation.
I feel like everyone at least once in their life has sniffed a panty.
No, that's what my point was, is I have no desire for that. And
you didn't have that experience. This is going on a completely different. You didn't have that happen when you were a kid? Like,
what are you talking about? Whose panties did you sniff?
Like when you were like a teenager, like I don't know, like
sniff your mom's panties.
Not my mom's, you sicko. This is like one of your first girlfriends. You're like, I wonder what it smells like.
Jesus. Oh god, I hope a whole bunch of your ex-girlfriends listen to this. Like, which one was the? Yeah, that's what Buzi was doing that one day. He was.
I am neither. Saying I did or did not. I am just, you know what? If that's your thing,
but
on.
Nowadays, what you like to do is you like to put the panties on and do a Bane impression. You put them over your face.
No one knew who I was until I put on the panties.
Jesus Christ. Okay, well, yeah, what I was saying before is that next week we're going to talk about my found footage pick, which is Ghost Watch, which is available on Shudder. So check that out. Highly recommend checking that out. I picked it for a reason. I'll talk more about it next week.
Also, check out Shudder if you've never seen it.
So everything that I'm talking about today has been on Shudder, so that's exciting. But and then the following week, we will do Diego's pick, which will be the Poughkeepsie tapes. And then we're also going to have before we go into our next series, I guess we're not going to announce what the series is right now, but we will announce the movie. Because it's a found footage movie that we blew hard last week.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a special guest on, which we're not going to announce just yet, but it's something special to us. We're very looking forward to having...
I don't think we should even announce it yet.
I think we should say, because just because I want more people, if it gives them more of a chance to see the movie. Okay. And I'm sure most people have already seen it, but there are people like dummies like Thomas who hadn't seen it before.
Okay.
It is either called The Taking or it is called The Taking of Deborah Logan.
Yeah.
So just look for that. When I saw it, it was called The Taking of Deborah Logan, but then
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it as The Taking.
When it was put on Netflix, it was The Taking. But either way, we're going to talk about that movie with a special guest. More of that to come.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. A couple things to get out of the way before we get on with the show. congratulations, and introducing our friend Darcy, who was on for Night of the Virgin. Our friend Darcy and Jen just started their own podcast called 3,000 Movies to Die Before You Watch. Okay, so I told him I came up with it, but apparently you came up with it too.
I did?
Like, so you, because he's like, yeah, Buzi and you came up with it. And I was like,
it's probably you. I have the memory of a goldfish, though.
Yeah. Well, I remember being like, that could be, like, this might be corny. Don't feel bad if you don't want to use it. And I was like, what about 3,000 Movies to Die Before You Watch? Because they're all terrible movies, pretty much, that they bought. But either way, I think it's a cool title.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm looking forward to listening to it. Darcy was a big hit on our show. We had a lot of fun with him. Yeah, that dude is nuts. So with all that being said, let's get on with the show. Do you want to talk about what you have been seeing, Buzi?
Sure. It's not extensive. It's not long. It was just a couple episodes. I watched more of On the Trail of Bigfoot. Did you get around to watching it yet? No. Still fairly interesting. It covers a lot of interesting ground. Now that it's gotten later on, I think I've watched up till 6, so I've one episode left.
Okay.
They do get into some of the stuff about Bigfoot and UFOs and the correlation there, which I hate.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, in what world do those correlate?
Well, I guess there's a bunch of stories of people having eyewitness things where, like, in an area that has a lot of UFO activity, that's also been an area for cryptids. And then there's also, like, straight correlations where, like, sometimes Bigfoots will appear out of a gleam of light from a ship, kind of like they got beamed down by the mothership. So there's lots of tie-ins there, which I guess I can be picky choosy with what I like about Bigfoot, the same as anything else, is I don't find those correlate. I find that they had one host on there, or one guy they interviewed who was talking about it more, and he's like, usually the most linear answer or the most straight ahead is usually the right one in life. So it's kind of going, most people think that it's some form of ape. Yeah. And he's like, that's probably just what it is, honestly.
That's what I think. I think there's a creature there's plenty of creatures that we don't know about.
Exactly.
And like especially at some time, there may have been a photograph of something that doesn't exist anymore, but once did.
Yeah, I don't know. There's too much information and too many sources that have said something to make you completely not believe in it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, whether it's blown out of proportion, obviously some of these stories are fabricated, or there are, like, the hoaxes with all that, like the Patterson-Gimlin film. People still debate whether that's real or not. But there's enough of something that, you know, most people, if they go out into the woods, like even camping or something, they don't go, hey, let's make a Bigfoot print and take a cast of it. You know, because it does ruin people's lives. It's the same way if you come out saying that you had a UFO experience, whether you were abducted or you just saw lights or little men came out or something, you know, any of that stuff, you usually get most of your life ruined. For a lot of people, that fucks your life up.
What do you mean, like, where they, like, just make fun of them a lot? Or?
Well, it's people start thinking you're weird. You start getting, some people have gotten threats. There's a lot of times people who will go on the internet and they'll attack you either for being stupid for believing in it, or there'll be people who are so in depth in it that they'll call them, like, fakers and stuff. So that, you know, people don't have anything really to gain from this. You're not making tons of money by saying you had a UFO sighting. Yeah.
You're opening up a whole floodgate of questions that I have here regarding this documentary, though. Okay, so, like, I'm a fan of, like, Bigfoot, the idea of Bigfoot in general and cryptids, and I'm interested in documentaries like this, but I have seen so many documentaries where they just rely on the crazy locals. Is this documentary, like, do you feel like the filmmakers believe in Bigfoot, or do you think that they're just trying to tell a story?
I think they're more trying to tell the story, because they even address the main kind of guy who does all the interviews and stuff, because they do interview people, but it's never just like Jimbo who lives down the block. A lot of these people are actually credible sources. There are people who have, like, PhDs, there's doctors they're talking to.
It's not like gas station attendants.
Yeah, there's animal experts, and a lot of these people are just bringing all this different information to the table. Some of them are historians. You know,
that makes it infinitely already more interesting to me than a lot of Bigfoot documentaries out there already.
Yeah, a lot of times if you want to have a good Bigfoot documentary, you don't want to interview people who have directly had Contact, because sometimes those ones are just the weirdos.
What's that like town, the Bigfoot town? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Bigfoot town.
They are in
that Willow Creek.
Yeah, they go in Willow Creek. Yeah, but it's a real place, like where the Patterson tapes.
Patterson Gimlin films are. I can't remember where that is.
Because that's the thing is, you talk to anybody there, and of course they believe this stuff because they rely 100% on tourists to come through their town. Looking for Bigfoot. They got Bigfoot plush toys, Bigfoot like lunch kits and stuff, like shirts and stuff like that. It's like those people I don't really care about listening to because I'm like, I don't know, I think they're a little biased. And I think that they're also people, when you believe something for long enough, you're something that you could be told anything, and after a long enough period of time you just believe people.
That's true. Yeah. They talked about, I guess there's the big 4 pillars, which I didn't know about, of I don't know their names offhand, but there's a big 4 of Bigfoot research, and they came out in like the early or late 60s moving onward, and there's these 4 guys who all came from different fields. One dude was a big game hunter. These dudes poured in a ton of money, time, and research to go out there and find stuff. I believe they did make casts and everything. They found some evidence, but none of those 4 guys ever had a direct experience.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Where it kind of leads a little bit of credibility that it's not all 4 of them going like, yeah, I saw something too. It's like these dudes searched their whole life. Like 3 out of the 4 of them are dead now, and they searched their whole life for, anything, and they may have found tracks or something, but they never saw one themselves. So I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people think it's stupid overall to kind of look at things like that, but they even talked about kind of the area where most of these sightings occur, and it goes from BC down towards into the States, and like tons of that area they're talking about is like you move 10 feet off of the highway and you're gone, you're in the forest, and it's like all this uncharted land, and nobody, it's uninhabited by people, so
it makes sense that something would be out there.
Do
you believe in Bigfoot?
Oh sure, I do.
Okay. Do you believe in UFOs?
Yes.
Yeah, and like aliens, of course we do.
Yeah, I think that it's another one of those things is there's too many weird, it would be like coincidences, I guess, that it can't, there has to be a little bit of truth in every lie.
Yeah, like I'm not sure I believe in like those Simpsons characters, like that type of alien,
Kang
like,
and Krang.
Yeah. But like and even like signs and stuff, like I'm not sure I believe in that, but like it is so, I guess what would be the word, like almost narcissistic to think that we would be alone in this huge galaxy.
I think it's even narcissistic to believe that we've discovered everything on this planet.
Yeah. Like think about the bottom of the ocean. Like, there's shit there that like I never want to know exists.
Yeah.
I don't even want to know. But the thing that the only good thing to come out of Donald Trump being in office. This is where we're going to turn political.
Okay.
No, but the only good thing to come out of it is that guy is such a complete fucking moron that like he has direct access to all of the Area 51 files. If the U.S. government did know something about aliens or whatever, and people have been trying to disprove, say the government's hiding this, that idiot would have let it slip. He would have been talking about it on Twitter and like that.
Just saw some documents.
Yeah, just like, let me tell you. No, but like that's like the only. That's where I'm like, okay, so the information is not with the U.S. government. I'm sure there's some somewhere else, but. Or like, because there's no way they could keep that away from Trump, that nosy little bastard.
I love how you had to take this in a political direction.
I don't know. I've thought about that before, but yeah, okay. Well, so you're 6 episodes in.
5 episodes.
Five
and
episodes.
There's only 6 episodes. I got 1 left.
Yeah. So you like it though? Like, would you recommend? Who'd you recommend it to? Do you think I would like it?
I think it is for people who genuinely believe. If you're gonna watch it as a mega skeptic, you can tear through this thing, and that's the only downside is a lot of times when you watch documentaries, docuseries, they have a clear. It's like an essay. You have a clear objective, and you go through there. Yeah. This one feels more like it's talking about incidences and talking to people and giving their reasons why they don't believe in this Bigfoot thing happening, and it always like most of these sources are credible. So that's the thing is I don't feel like there's a defined thing where they're going after one story and capping that. They're like each episode feels like its own story and incidences.
Cool.
So that's the thing is like once I've got to now that I realize like I'm 5 episodes in and I don't feel like there's been a steady progression of stories. It's been more just incident, every episode you could just watch and pick up a different one, and there wouldn't be any drag for you.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't call back to the last episode. So that's the only thing where I can say, like, you know, that's why if you want to be a skeptic's point of view, is you're watching 6 different episodes of people talking about why Bigfoot probably does exist. Yeah. And then you can just scoff at that and go about your business. But if you are interested in that sort of thing, then I think it's great. You don't have to watch all the episodes. You can just dabble in them, and if you like them, you like them. Yeah. And, you know, you can kind of tell that they at least tried. Like, they had this is kind of the funny part where people are gonna make fun of it, is they had a guy in a costume and they took a lot of like blurry video, and that's the fluff videos.
Yeah.
So it'll be somebody talking about something, instead of it just continuously being like a steady shot on this person, they'll cut to like a dude in a suit moving around in the forest a little bit. Yeah. And it's not like, it's nobody's going like, this is footage we have. It's just, obviously they made it as fluff stuff.
Okay. So it's like recreate, or what's it called?
It's not even
dramatization.
Yeah, it's not even like recreations though. It's literally just random shots of a dude walking around the forest as Bigfoot. So it's giving you that fluff stuff. It doesn't have anything to do with the story. It's just like, here's a, you know, someone will be talking about like, I found a footprint over here, and it'll just be a video of a dude in a suit walking through the woods, and it's kind of blurry. Yeah. And you go like, oh yeah, Bigfoot. That's like, it's like a reminder. You're like, oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
That's so I still enjoy it. You know, it is definitely it's a very niche market for who wants to watch these kind of things.
Well, I think there's some people who listen to us who would be interested.
Yeah, and I think you know, obviously I'm going to watch the next episode, or I'm going to watch the last episode and talk about it on the next episode. But I kind of do want to encapsulate that I really did enjoy it. I'm glad that we were reached out to about it, because it's something that I wouldn't have known about otherwise, because there is so much Bigfoot stuff. But I really enjoyed it. I think everybody did a very competent job. The only complaint I had, and this is very specific, is they had one interview where the main host and a lady were walking around talking, and the camera guy it looked like he had to have been walking backwards and filming them, but the camera just like shakes all over the place, and it really takes away from what they're doing, because like the audio is clear, but it's like so that's my only thing. I can't recommend it enough if you're into Bigfoot and you want to know a little bit more. I learned about a couple incidences that I didn't know about. So
sweet. Yeah. And with also that being said, if you are a filmmaker of any kind, send us your shit.
We would love to see it.
There's been multiple times where people send us, we have watched every single thing that's been sent to us.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Cool. Do you got anything else?
That's it.
Oh damn.
Sorry, dude. I feel like it was just so recent that we had our last episode. I haven't had a chance to watch a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I know, and that thing is all I've been doing is watching Game of Thrones. But
and that's the thing, is like, I could talk about watching Game of Thrones last night, but
I still haven't seen that episode though,
so I won't talk about it.
Yeah, no, I got a couple things. Both things that I checked out on Shudder. So the first one I'm going to start off with is something that it seems like the entire horror community has talked about, except for us and me. Like, what do you know about The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs?
I know that it was a thing a long time ago. I listened to a podcast where they interviewed him.
Yeah.
And
what podcast? Do you listen to Shockwaves? Because I'm pretty sure neither you or Diego listen to Shockwaves.
I do not listen to Shockwaves. Okay. He was on actually last podcast. They interviewed him. Yep.
Oh, I haven't listened to that.
He seems like he's a real straight shooter. He likes what he likes. And it's just kind of a movie review sort of. Yeah. And I know that it came back, and I believe Dwight was really excited for it. Yeah. And like, I don't know. I guess it takes away a little bit of our credibility, is that I don't know too much about it. I think it was very before me.
Yeah, and that's actually what I'm going to say here, is like, for me, the reason it took me so long to check it out. So I started. I'm still not completely done it because he does entire movies.
Yeah.
But I started with his latest season. The first episode is Chud. So cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. I started watching that episode just to kind of see what it's all about, because I have never seen anything Joe Bob Briggs before. Like, I've seen him as an actor in movies. Like, he plays a small bit roles in multiple movies. But yeah, I'm completely new to it, and that's why I was kind of like, what's it called? I was intimidated by starting it, kind of like what you were trying to say there too. I think it's just like, it seems like something that was before my time, and I'm not sure. Like, I almost felt like I'm like, I should pretend like I've always known about this, so my horror cred's not ruined. But no, like, it was completely new to me. But I've listened to him on multiple podcasts, and I've wanted to just kind of see what he's all about and see what people like about it so much. And I can totally understand the appeal, because he's got this whole gimmick where he's this sort of rednecky country looking guy, but he talks about horror movies, and he plays off like obvious stereotypes. Like he has this like really risque call girl that like she's just like a, for lack of better, well, she's risque. I don't want to use like the shameful S word, you know, but like she's kind of like, you know, she's scantily clad and like busty, and I don't know.
She's busty. She's busty. Wow. Yeah. We're really classing it up today.
It's really fucking hard for me to not just sound like an asshole, but like, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Either way, like, yeah, he introduced.
She seems like a lady of the night.
Even that's like, I think she's maybe has got a bit of a stripper thing going on. That's what I was gonna say. Okay, I don't. Either way, she's
using her feminine figure for personal gain.
That's even worse.
Oh shit!
No, but like
that's what a stripper is.
Yeah. Okay. I guess we're all wrong here.
Yeah. Fuck it. Let's not get into the semantics anymore.
No. Either way, he blatantly like kind of hits on her once in a while, and it's just like, and I think a lot of people haven't caught on to the joke yet or realized that he's a very intelligent man. He's like a living, breathing encyclopedia of the horror genre, and he's playing off of like a time that's completely gone. Like we're talking about drive-ins here, so like he's got this whole format of doing like 24-hour marathons. Like the first time he brought this back for Shudder, they actually did a live marathon, and he broke Shudder. Like people couldn't get on because so many people were trying to get onto it, and eventually they just said they put all the episodes up so people could see them whenever they want. But he starts off, he picks a movie, or like the audience picks a movie or something, and he shares factoids about it, some information. Sometimes he brings on guests, like in the middle. I believe I haven't watched it yet, but I know he has Felissa Rose, who plays Angela in Sleepaway Camp. She's on for that episode. Barbara Crampton is on for the Reanimator episode, and he talks about the movie before the movie, and then I think halfway through he'll take a break from the movie, comes back, and he talks, and he accepts answers from Twitter and everything. Like people are very active on it.
Okay.
And then and like he just does this with all these like really interesting horror titles that are all found on Shudder. But yeah, like the best part about it is that like he's clear, like he's got some like comedy roots in him. I believe he was a stand-up comic at one point or another, but then he eventually just started, he would write essays about movies, and he would try and review movies that not everyone was reviewing or not paying attention to, and he's always had an affinity for the horror genre. So I feel like this is the type of thing, like if for some reason, I know that I'm probably sounding like a huge noob to people who are like, you know, long-time
someone's
veterans.
Gonna scream at this.
Well, like,
you don't know shit.
Well, like people who have been into Joe Bob for a long time, I'm sure I sound like an idiot. But what I'm here to say is for the people who haven't checked it out yet, because you were like me, because you were kind of intimidated by it, being like, can I even get into this right now? Because it seems like it's one of those things where like hardcore horror fanatics they've known about this for years. I say give it a shot completely. I love it. I think it's like the movie so far. Chud is not a great movie. So I'm not like loving the movie, but I'm loving everything with Joe Bob. Like he starts off the show with doing like drive-in totals is what he calls them, and it's just like there's this many boobs, there's like there's this many like gratuitous hand scenes.
So
like
it's kind of like the end of Level in Goldeneye, where it gives you all the stats, like you shot this many and you did this.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's like uncredited, lesser known actors, like how many kills are in like kill count, stuff like that. And he offers a lot of interesting information about these movies that we all, like people who listen to this. I think if you listen to us, like we're definitely like I'm not comparing us to Joe Bob Briggs, but I feel like we have a similar spirit where he's definitely got a little bit of he's joking, but he also like really truthfully loves this stuff.
Okay.
So I think it's really cool.
There's a genuineness to it.
Oh, big time, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to watching more of that at some point. The last thing I watched was a documentary on Shudder called Until the Light Takes Us. Have you seen this?
Oh, why do I know this?
Because it's the Norwegian black metal documentary. It takes a look at black metal culture in like the 90s, specifically Norwegian black metal. It interviews members of Dark Throne, Burzum, and Mayhem.
You mean Burzum?
Yes. And that's what like what's the name?
That's how you have to say it.
That's Varg. Hey? Yeah, Varg.
Vikernes.
Yeah, he's in this documentary.
Is it Vikernes or Vikerson?
I don't know.
Whatever.
Yeah, I was completely new to this as well. Like I got it like. I knew a little bit. So, okay, I'm going to start over here before I get carried away. For those of you who aren't familiar with like the black metal movement, it's like the genre of music became a culture for a group of misfit metalheads who eventually went on to like murder people, burn down multiple churches, and wreak havoc in all different types of sick ways. But yeah, like I said, the documentary prominently features interviews with Varge of Burzum and Mayhem. And he was incarcerated from 1993 till 2009 and serving a 15-year sentence for killing his bandmate and one of the main black metal founders, Euronymous. So this was all new information for me. Like, I knew a little bit about I've always known about Norwegian black metal and how they burnt churches and stuff like that, but I didn't know the full story until I really saw Lords of Chaos, which I cannot wait for you to watch that movie. I think when it comes out, I'm going to have you guys over here to watch it, because it is so, I love that movie. But so that's why I want to check this out, because this features the actual people, and I know there's a lot of Norwegian black metal fans who they hate the movie Lords of Chaos because they think it paints them as idiots, and there's a lot of comedy to Lords of Chaos, and
I think there's fun to be had there, though.
Well, they were dumb kids.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same thing as, because we all kind of grew up with it as like scene kids. Just imagine if a bunch of scene kids, instead of just hanging out and complaining about their parents, like actually stabbed somebody or something,
or burnt a church
and then years later we're making fun of them, and they're like, "Don't make fun of my swoop haircut." Like,
I know
my girl jeans that I'm wearing.
Yeah, I've still been trying to delete those pictures for years.
Did you ever buy girl jeans?
I never bought girl jeans, but I had insanely skinny jeans.
I bought one pair of girl jeans.
Yeah, I know you did.
Yeah,
I knew
that's how I got the cool colors.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because that's how the kids who would wear purple pants and shit.
Yeah,
and
man.
then take RAR pictures where they had their hand
I
up
never,
like they're
I never
Godzilla.
got the RAR pictures though.
No. I totally took you for a RAR kid.
No, I was more like the sad emo kid. I didn't want a RAR XD with my friends.
Yeah. No, but you were the sad emo kid that liked Suicide Silence and like deathcore.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're still that kid.
Pretty much, yeah. I have skinny jeans at home. I'll throw those bad boys on.
Well, that's the thing. I think I have fitted jeans, but I was someone made fun of me, been like, "No, skinny jeans." I'm like, they just fit.
Honestly, yeah, it's at this point now where it's not even like, I don't even think of them as skinny jeans. It's I like the elasticy fitting ones. Yeah, like, they fit my legs nice.
Exactly. Well, either way, back to Until the Light Takes Us. Yeah, it's on Shudder, and I recommend giving it a watch if you're interested in the whole black metal movement and don't know a whole lot about it. I'm sure this is another thing where if you've ever had an interest in Mayhem or Norwegian black metal, you've probably seen this already, but I just thought I'd give it a shot because it was on Shudder and I got a Chromecast. I finally got a Chromecast of my own, and I can watch Shudder on my TV now, and it has
Isn't
been
Chromecast great?
It's awesome.
And they're so cheap now.
I got a $50 one.
Yeah.
I got a real good one, but it's so sweet. I got that, and I got Crave on my phone, so Courtney and I, that's what we're watching Game of Thrones on. It's awesome. I love it.
When are you going to have time for Pornhub? At this rate, your hands in too many jars right now.
I know. And Pornhub doesn't have that Chromecast option at the top.
Yeah, sometimes you need to just disconnect from social media and go on Pornhub.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, last couple things I'll say about Until the Light Takes Us, though, is it is like definitely a lower budget documentary, so be warned about that. I don't think that's a problem, but I think it's the content, the style, like the content of the documentary is very underground. So like I don't think you should expect like an HBO level documentary. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, my only complaint is there are times where the interviews, like, you couldn't hear them properly because they don't have the best equipment. Sometimes
I think there's no excuse for basic audio like that, though.
Yeah, well, it's definitely watchable. Like, it's definitely watchable, but I just think it's like, I'm also used to watching HBO documentaries.
Yeah, so no, I don't expect like 1080p like 4K documentaries and stuff, but like if you're doing a documentary and you're interviewing people, get some decent audio for that.
Yeah, and like I don't know what their full what the whole story was behind the documentary. I just think like it almost kind of suits the documentary because they go to like
kind of like that DIY feel.
Yeah, and they go to like they're in that like Euronymous' record shop where it has black metal or whatever the fuck is written in the basement. Either way, it was really interesting and I really enjoyed it, and but it did just make me even more excited to watch Lords of Chaos again. So
I am so excited for your upcoming black metal phase. I feel like it's slowly coming.
I went through a black metal phase. Well, back like
but I need you to have like the corpse paint on and shit.
We were talking about doing corpse paint for Ghost, like when we go see Ghost.
That's gonna be your dabble. It's like you're either gonna
not gonna come back.
Yeah, you're either gonna become like a Norwegian black metal dude, or you're gonna become a juggalo. That's the two like face paint groups.
Honestly, I think that I would probably be a juggalo before a Norwegian death row.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so, just because, like...
You down with the clown?
Man, have you heard that music? Like, have you heard fucking Burzum and shit?
Not good.
It's fucking horrible. Like, I'm like... I don't understand how there are human beings out there who are like, yes, this is the shit. It's just like, man, these guys... Like, people make fun of Blink-182, like, playing 3 chords over and over.
Yeah, or like the Ramones and
At least they're playing a chord.
Yeah.
like, play one chord, not just hammer on fucking strings. Like, it's way worse than... Oh, it's
that was
awful.
a big style over substance genre.
Yeah, there was absolutely... Oh, it's terrible. But that's what I like about it, though. I'm like, oh, you fucking idiots. Like, I like laughing at dumb people because I am one. But, okay, let's get on to some news because I think there's a lot to talk about in the news this week.
Yeah.
I have 3 things, so...
All right, I guess we'll be back with the news.
Hit me with that motherfucking news, Booze.
Ugh. Welcome, Dak, for super... Oh, my God, you cracked a beer right at the perfect time.
It's
ASMR beer cracking. Welcome back for some cool Boozy Time news. First order of business. David S. Goyer is going to write and produce and visceral... What?
A reimagining.
A dark and visceral reimagining of Hellraiser. So they're going to be rebooting it.
Yeah, and it's going to be a major studio release. This was announced today, like when we're recording it. That's one that I've said on... I think I said that actually on our book club episode, that I think that's one that's ripe for a remake. I think that they could do something interesting with it, especially after just reading The Hellbound Heart. Mm-hmm. I'm game for it, but also David S. Goyer has done a lot of garbage. Like, people are like, it's always like the Dark Knight writer, and it's just like, yeah, he did, like, the Dark Knight's incredible, but he's also written some like horrible fucking shit.
You know, sometimes you just gotta shoot your shot.
Yeah, exactly. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. How do you feel about, like, when's the last time you watched a Hellraiser movie?
Didn't we do an episode on Hellraiser?
No, we did not. But he wrote Batman vs Superman as well.
It's been a while since I think I've only seen the first one. But like, it's so far out of my general memory of everything that, like, I'm sure a reboot would be fine for me. It wouldn't make me angry. The only thing is, I hate that all these movies are doing reboots where they have to update it to how technology is. I feel like every reboot's like, there's more technology since last time, so we're gonna do this and this. It's like, how many movies can I see where like a cell phone does something, or they're gonna manipulate all that stuff, all the social media stuff. It's
not necessary to do that with Hellraiser, but I think there is a cool political subtext they could add to our current climate, because it is like the whole Faustian tale of like making a deal with the devil. Like, that's what Hellraiser is at its heart. That's interesting. I think that they shouldn't remake Pinhead. I think they should just make different Cenobites, because like I'd mentioned, even in the book, like, Pinhead isn't a main character. It's just like he's described as one of them. He just became
the, like, it's our marketing, it's our branding, it's our face.
That, and like, I think they probably didn't even know what kind of fire they had with Doug Bradley. Like, there's just certain times where someone just makes something so incredible, and like, he is such a memorable character. It would be a shame not to have him as your main character. But I think, like, if they're not going to use Doug Bradley, there doesn't need to be a Pinhead. There's multiple other ways you could go about that story.
I see where you're coming from, but I see that more as a TV show, if they were to do something along those lines. It's just for the casual person, like even myself, is if you
think Hellraiser, you think Pinhead.
Exactly. It would feel like a slight, I'm sure for a lot of the hardcore fans, if they were to see this without a Pinhead character. Because obviously you're coming at it from a point of view, is not only have you seen these movies, but you've also read the book and everything. So you can go like, I'd rather just see some Cenobites, where like most people are going, I don't know that much about Hellraiser, I just want to see Pinhead. Yeah.
And see, that's one of the reasons I'm interested in watching this come to fruition, because like you said, there are some hardcore Hellraiser fans out there, and I want to see how they react to this new movie, because I want to see if they pretend like the last 15 Hellraiser movies weren't borderline unwatchable. And like, there has not been a good Hellraiser movie in over 25 years.
But you can kind of look at it the same way. I know you might have a different opinion, but with Child's Play.
Totally.
Child's Play suffered from some really bad movies in its lineage.
And see, that thing is, I think there's 2 that I don't like out of all of them.
Okay.
Like, I actually like all of them except for 2.
Okay. And but you're in a small majority for that. As far as I know, most people don't like them after a certain point.
Yeah, I think those people are missing out. Curse of Chucky is a really good movie.
Yeah, but you can be the same thing, where you're going to have all these, the Chucky purists when they see this new one.
Well, I'm really looking forward to it because I know we're doing like our series, like we got found footage right now, but like I do want to start doing like franchises and stuff like that. Like, I really want to delve into the Nightmare franchise with you and Child's Play leading up to the new Child's Play. But because I'm interested because your love for Michael Myers took on a whole new effect when we did that, when we revisited them, and now it's like a big part of your life and you love it, and that's awesome. My only concern is that that's such a Buzi character that I'm like, of course you love it, but I'm worried that you're gonna compare that when you're talking about Nightmare on Elm Street and everything. Like, so
I don't think they're the same though.
They're completely different, but I think they get lumped in a lot together because of the whole.
They do just because
like
of
the big
their
five.
iconic. Yeah, exactly. The iconics, where most people look at it, I'm sure is Jason's pretty much the face of all slashers. As you know, that's more of the go-to as opposed to Michael, and it's simply on a simplistic level just because of the mask differences.
They're completely different types of
movies. They are completely
yeah.
different types, and that's why I can see being more of a comparing those two, whereas I understand how much different Freddy is versus you know, it's someone who has, you go from Michael having zero character to Freddy having all the character.
He almost has he has too much character eventually.
Yeah,
but like even then cause it's been a long time since you've seen the first one.
Yeah, right? So like I don't feel like there'll be that suffering where, you know, I'm gonna go, well Michael would have done this, because there's so much different.
Yeah. No, either way, I think we got a lot of fun. Like, that's the thing is, like, we've been doing this podcast almost 3 years now, and we're nowhere near out of ideas.
Yeah, we have
nowhere
near, so much.
Nowhere near out of stuff that we can do.
And I feel like we could even do some revisits, because there are some we did because we didn't know how long this was going to go for. Yeah. You know, there are certain...
Like, we let off pretty fucking... Like, we did The Thing within 10 episodes.
That's what I mean, is we got those out, you know, we did, like, Alien and that series, and we did quite a bit of other stuff as well.
I would really like to revisit the Alien.
That's what I mean, is I would love to have a redo on it. I'm sure we did fine our first time, but I think we could add so much more.
Yeah, like I always, because it's an ongoing joke now that I contradict myself a lot, but I think
I like to poke fun at that. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine, but the thing is also, I think it would be embarrassing if I didn't admit it myself. Like I fully know that I do that, and you know what, you do, like we all do it. Like there's been times where we've tried to like things because we have a personal connection to them, like you with Fallen Kingdom, and now
I tried so hard.
Yeah, and like, but with me, and like, I remember I defended Resurrection and said it was a better movie than 3.
Yes.
I don't think that it's a better movie than 3, but I think that was me being a clout demon to you. Like, I think that was me being like, fuck Buzi, I'm gonna like lay my hand. But I do like Resurrection.
I don't hate Resurrection either, but it doesn't feel like an Alien movie.
It's a bad movie.
Yeah,
that's why I like it.
I know 3 isn't great, but it at least still felt like an Alien movie.
It has the seeds.
It does. So when you watch Resurrection, it feels so much different. It's like the first 3 are its own trilogy, and then it's Resurrection.
Resurrection is like pornographic. Yeah. Compared to even 3. Like, yeah. And like it's like almost like all the class flies out the window and it turns into this sleazy, gross thing that Alien in essence isn't.
Yeah, I think like 3 at least tried to capture what 1 was doing.
Should we just talk about Alien for the rest of the podcast?
No, okay. Let's move on from that. Lily Collins, who played the wife of Ted Bundy in the film we were covering today, says that she was haunted by ghosts. What? During the filming of
Extremely Wicked?
Yeah.
Really?
She said she would wake up at 3 a.m. every night and have an odd feeling, and she said it was the victims of Ted Bundy who were coming to support her. They weren't haunting her in a mean way. She felt like they were giving relief and joy.
She's gotta shut up. You don't say shit like that. Like
I'm just copying I'm just reading off the news here, and yes, it sounds fucking insane to me too, but it's just
one of those things that you just leave out.
Yeah,
in my opinion, like, you just don't fucking say that. That's some weird justification there.
Yeah, it's like, don't sink your career like that.
Yeah.
It Chapter 2 trailer will be hitting this Thursday. So we're all excited for that.
Fucking crazy excited, but I'm also just like, now the year's gonna seem so long, because like that's what I'm so looking forward to. That I can't wait.
That's your number 1?
I don't know if it's Star Wars is my number 1.
Okay.
But I think it's up there. Like, I really liked the first It movie, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm just curious to see how the adults are looking, how the tone feels.
Yeah. We finally got our first look at Crawl. The first trailer for Crawl came out.
How many times did you beat it to it? Because, oh man, I'm so excited.
I watched it like 5 times in a row.
Yeah, it looks so good.
I do have one complaint about the trailer, though.
They show everything?
They gave me a lot. Gave me a lot.
Yeah, they show a whole bunch that it would have been nice to not see. But at the same time, I feel like I can rest easy knowing that I'm going to walk into a goofy movie. Like, I think they made it pretty clear that it's going to be, like... I kind of did get the vibe, like, I think it's like the producers of Don't Breathe. Mm-hmm. It's like, it kind of is like Don't Breathe, but with an alligator.
But that's where I think that it's not going to be crazy goofy. I think they are taking it slightly serious, which will be fun. And it kind of is almost a reverse home invasion movie where they're trying to get out. Yeah. But,
like, the thing is, like, it's just one of those things where we've talked about this multiple times, the Backcountry, Jaws, fucking all those types of movies. We love nature run amok. Lake Placid. Yeah. Awesome.
It's going to be great.
This is very much like, it feels like, I don't know, I think I can speak for you and I, where it's like, this was made for me and you.
Oh, 100.
Like, it's like, Mitch and Buzi, here you go.
It's like if they looked at our letterboxd and they went through the reviews and like, we got a movie for these fuckers.
Yeah, they
like,
think
you guys like Rogue? How about
Oh, exactly. Oh man, yeah, we need more good alligator movies.
I think you summed it up perfectly though. The nature gone amok. It's just it always feels good.
Well, it's genuinely scary because those things exist, but at the same time, like, for me, I feel like, and I know that they acted that, like, in Backcountry, the bear scene scared me so bad because, like, I looked it up. I'm like, oh, bears actually do this. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, in Lake Placid, they don't jump out of the water and take down helicopters, but it's fun as shit for me to watch it do that.
Well, yeah, and then, you know, I know we did our Jaws franchise. We've been talking about Jaws Revenge, where, like, it was following people to Hawaii.
Yeah, no, it's insane. But, like, even, like, in Crawl, it's like this thing has heat-seeking missiles in its head looking for her. Like, it just, like, is so fast, and all the, like, quick shots. I just think it looks awesome.
Yeah. We celebrated May 4th. So, happy May 4th to all our Star Wars fans. I thought I'd just throw it out quickly.
Star Wars is a big one here.
Did you go to Free Comic Book Day?
I didn't. This was the first year that I didn't.
I went and checked out Free Comic Book Day.
Did you?
I nearly bought a giant Bane statue that would have run me about $60.
And Amazing Stories?
Yeah.
Yeah. They got, man, did you see all their alien shit?
Yeah, I nearly bought some alien stuff too.
They have an insane alien collection.
It feels weird as an adult to be really stoked about figurines because sometimes
you seen my house?
I know, but I get so excited and then I'm about to buy them and then I go like, right, I'm just going to put them on a counter and 2 hours later, any like adrenaline I got from buying it is gone. And I'm just looking, here's this $60 thing that is probably going to get dropped and broken.
Yeah, it has happened to me multiple times.
Not to say that I don't own a ton of shit like that, but it's you know, once you've bought a couple of them, you realize there's not a lot of value here.
Yeah, for me, it's like I just don't have any more room for them.
Yeah.
There's no walls left.
And last piece of news, speaking of Star Wars, is our beloved actor Peter Mayhew passed away at 74.
That's sad.
So can you do the wait before you do it? I was like, can we do like on 3 as a remembrance?
Let's try to do as loud as we can.
Okay,
but maybe back up. So.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Oh my god,
what was yours? Rest in peace, Peter Mayhew. Thank you for everything you've done.
Punch it, Chewie.
All right, that's all I got for news unless you have anything else.
No, that's well covered. We'll be back after this trailer, and then we'll be talking about 2019's extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile.
Been staring at you all night.
What do you say we get out of here?
What is it about this guy? When I feel his love, I feel like I'm on top of the world.
There are things you don't know.
Hi, officer. I think I must be lost.
That will shock you beyond your worst nightmare. I am innocent. You don't actually believe this garbage, do you?
It's in all the papers, Ted.
Monkey! Oh!
How did his name get on that suspect list? I want to come see you.
I was really hoping you'd say that.
This case is about catching a monster.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am that innocent suspect.
You are skating on thin ice, partner.
The media has convicted Ted before he's had his day in court.
I'm gagged, and you're not.
I wonder whether he did it or not.
I'm more popular than Disney World.
Did you do these things?
Absolutely not. Let me get back to plotting my escape here.
And welcome to our main feature conversation, in which we're going to be talking about Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile, which came out on Netflix last Friday, so 2019, and it's directed by Joe Berlinger, which was one of the reasons I was really interested in seeing this movie. Joe Berlinger is the director, producer of documentary films like the Paradise Lost trilogy. He did that. He was the original HBO West Memphis 3 trilogy that he did there. He also produced and directed Some Kind of Monster, the Metallica documentary.
Oh, wait. He must have just been like, guys, quit crying.
No, are you kidding me? It's like his seminal piece of work now. It's like one of the greatest things ever put on film is Metallica, Some Kind of Monster. That documentary.
James, can you quit crying, please?
Yeah, no, and then he's like, James, I'll cast you in my new movie. But no, then he also put out the Ted Bundy or the Bundy tapes. He was in charge of all that. He's in tons of different things, but mostly in the documentary world. He also did a documentary on Whitey Bulger. Lots of really interesting stuff. So I was excited to see how he would handle a feature film. The movie was written by. It's based on the book The Phantom Prince: My Life with Ted Bundy by Elizabeth Kendall. And the screenplay was written by Michael Werwey, who hasn't written much yet. He's only done one other thing. It's called A Rose Reborn, but he also is a writer of a movie called Lost Girls, which is yet to be released. But yeah, that brings us to Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile, which we have been waiting for a long time. Before people say, like, yeah, this is not a horror movie. This is not a horror movie, but it dabbles on the fringes of what we're interested in. We've covered serial killer movies on here before. It's something that is an interest across the table with us. And I know Buzi's a Ted Bundy aficionado. We found out he was sniffing panties, so now
I'm on my way.
The plot thickens. But yeah, I don't know if Buzi, you want to take it away from here and just kind of talk about what the movie is, because let's do that first.
Okay. You want to go over what the movie is first?
Synopsis, yeah.
Okay. So it basically just goes through kind of Ted Bundy's first encounter with his wife and going through that, and then slowly it speeds up. And sorry, it doesn't slow. It speeds up towards his apprehension, his time in jail, his numerous escapes, going back. And a lot of it is the trial, because that's where you get the most character out of Bundy. He was a very charismatic fella.
Yeah, and that's clearly what Berlinger wanted to tell. Like, that's the story they wanted to tell. He didn't want to make like a... What's that really? At the Wolves' Door, whatever.
Wolves at the Door.
Wolves at the Door, which are...
It was just a recreation, basically.
Recreation of the Manson murders, which is tasteless and on so many different levels. This movie received its fair share of backlash for even glorifying or sexualizing Ted Bundy by casting Zac Efron in the leading role as Ted Bundy. I just want to quickly jump here and say that also we talked about in the news, Lily Collins plays Liz Kendall, his girlfriend, because they didn't technically get married. Angela Sarah Fran plays Joanna, and yeah, that's okay. So she's
Haley Joel Osment is also.
Yeah, we'll get that, but first I want to talk about Joanna for a second. So that's the girl from Crawl.
Is it really?
Yeah, she's unrecognizable in this movie. But yeah, she's in this, and then
it's a big year for her.
Yeah, then you also have James Hetfield, singer of Metallica, playing Officer Bob Hayward. You also have Grace.
Hold on, what?
You did not pick... Did you not pick that up?
No.
He's the cop.
Oh, shit.
Who arrests him at the beginning.
I did not even notice.
Yeah, that's James Hetfield. Dylan Baker is also in this, who's famous. He's famously in Trick or Treat. Sorry, I got this wrong. Kea Scodelario. I'm so bad.
We're showing our brains right now.
Yeah, she plays Carol Ann Boone.
Okay.
That's who's in Crawl.
Okay.
That's the one who's in Crawl. And then we have Haley Joel Osment, who plays Liz's coworker. And then we have Joe Berlinger plays someone as well, like the director. And then, sorry, I'm just like so many big names in here. Jim Parsons of Bazinga fame. And,
I'm sure that's what he wants to be remembered for.
Bazinga. And John Malkovich plays Judge Edward Court. So pretty stacked cast for a very touchy subject.
Yeah.
But like Buzi had said, it mainly follows the courtroom trials, and I don't think it's trying to tell you, it's not trying to make a movie about a serial killer. It's more so about what it's like living with a serial killer, and maybe being hesitant to, like, not fully believing that he's... One of the most interesting things about the Ted Bundy crimes was that a lot of people believed him. They believed that he didn't do these things because he was so charming in the way that he talked and the way he presented himself. I think that that's what they were trying to capture in this film. So yeah, if you want to keep going.
Okay. I just want to do a quick background on Bundy for everybody. In case anybody doesn't know, I'm sure you do. I'll give you a quick synopsis just to get it out of the way.
We'll be the Bundy buddies.
Yeah. So Theodore Bundy was born November 24th, 1946, and he didn't like being called Theodore, so he just went by Teddy. He committed most of his crimes during the 1970s. He was a serial murderer, rapist, and necrophiliac. He admitted to killing 36 young women across several states in the 70s, but experts believe the final total is probably closer to 100. And we'll never be able to truly find out how many he killed because obviously he was executed in 1989. And he was apprehended on August 16th, 1975.
Yes.
For the first time he was apprehended, sorry.
And the day he died he was executed January 24th. I know that, I can't remember.
January 24th, 1989.
Okay, yeah, because the movie premiered at a festival. I believe it was Cannes. But it premiered there the day 30 years after he had been executed.
I didn't know that.
Day.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so this is one, I know you and I have both been really excited to watch this one for quite a while. So as soon as it was like...
There was a small time where we didn't know if we'd ever be able to actually see it.
Yeah, and that's one thing I'm curious about because this movie is anything but gratuitous. Like, there's not really anything in it that would make me think that they were going to shelve this thing.
Yeah, but it did seem like there had been a lot of talk about it actually being shelved just because of subject matter, which I do understand, but a lot of worse things have gotten away. You know, going back to the Wolves of the Gate thing.
Yeah, I think they must have cut some stuff because like there's one scene where it shows something semi-violent.
Yeah,
or it's pretty violent, but just not to our standards because we're so used to being idiots and watching brutal things. But yeah, let's just talk about this. We'll talk about the movie, and then I'll just kind of talk about because you know a lot more about Ted Bundy than I do. I know stuff from watching true crime documentaries, true crime podcasts, stuff like that, but I've never fully... I haven't read The Stranger Beside Me. I haven't read any books on Bundy. But I've just been looking forward to watching this movie because for a couple of reasons, Joe Berlinger being behind the camera and doing a cinematic feature film rather than a documentary, was interesting to me, especially I was a huge fan of Paradise Lost, especially the third installment. I always found him to be an interesting director. I should say he also directed Blair Witch Project 2: Book of Shadows.
Did he?
Yeah, but and that's not his fault though. Like that's it. They got that movie filmed while I'm pretty sure they were filming while Blair Witch Project was still in theaters. Like they were fast tracking it like crazy, and like that is not his fault. But either way, I think he's an interesting guy and he's got a lot to say, and he's clearly passionate about true crime. And Ted Bundy with releasing the Bundy tapes right before this. Then the other thing, the obvious thing is Zac Efron, like seeing the High School Musical kid being fucking...
Yeah, you know, when you talk about getting older and all the things you see change, I remember like when I was in elementary school, all the girls had the teen magazines and it was always Zac Efron on the cover, and they had like pictures
get your head in the game.
Yeah, and all the High School Musical backpacks and all that shit. It is so weird to see him as the strikingly similar face of Ted Bundy.
Yep, and I think we'll get to that right away. Then the other thing is, or where the fuck was I going with that? I don't know. Let's just get to that, I guess. Like,
okay.
I don't know. I just think, should we just get to our thoughts about the movie?
Sure. I have a couple big thoughts, but you go ahead.
You want me to go first?
Sure.
So I was really excited for this movie, and I liked it. But I think for the first little bit, I was totally like, I felt they were rushing past so many things, and I know that it was all intentional, but it felt messy to me. But in the last 45 minutes of this movie, it is so fucking good. And I think that is 100% due to the acting. I know we were kind of laughing at Lily Collins before, but I think she stole the show. I think she was so good as his wife. She was so good.
I think, and
everyone was good.
I also wanted to point out that I think Haley Joel Osment can carve out a nice little niche in his acting career as a bit actor like that, because I think he was fantastic.
He was really good. He was really sympathetic and believable.
Yeah, you didn't look at him as like, here's the Sixth Sense kid grown up. Yeah. It was, you believed he was this meeker character.
Yeah, it's like, that's that kid from the Sixth Sense, but his head grew, but his face stayed the same size. That's what he looks like. But I think he's a great actor. Like, I think he's really, especially in this movie. Like, long story short, for long opinion short, all of the acting in this movie is the best part about it. I think that the acting was so good.
I think everybody committed 100% to this.
And I fully bought Efron, especially near the end. There's if we're going to delve into spoilers, I don't think we really need to, because we don't really need to spoil anything in this movie because it's also all history. But the way that they dealt with certain timeline things, like I just think, especially if you just watch the Bundy tapes, they pretty much just recreated that to a T, but made it interesting enough to watch again.
That you kind of hit it right on the head with recreate. It felt like a recreation of just a bunch of scenes. Yeah. And I'm going to say flat out that I did enjoy this movie as well. I don't think it was entirely what I expected. I think it was more of a drama than I was expecting.
It's for sure. It's a drama.
And I did really enjoy it. And that's the thing, is I didn't hate this movie. I've seen a lot of people commenting about not liking it. And I kind of do have a couple of things I want to talk about after that as to why, I believe.
Yeah. Because that's the thing is what I was saying before too is that I loved the last like half hour, 45 minutes, but up to that I was like, this is sloppy. It's like I was not into it, and I was like, really? I was pretty bummed out, mainly because as someone I know enough about Ted Bundy, but I feel like they treated this like everyone in the world should know everything about Ted Bundy already. I think I get that their story that they wanted to tell was focused on the courtroom stuff. But even they could have honestly just done like a little bit of a summary and then started at the courtroom stuff. Like, I think a lot of it felt really forced. I think that him falling in love with like Lily Collins' character, I felt that was forced at the beginning, which I think that like once the wheels started rolling, I started buying it more, and then that's where it started getting really good. I also thought it was just Zac Efron trying to be charming, which is very easy for him. And I think that it was when the courtroom scenes came in is when you really saw him actually have to work for it. And he did such a good job with that. I loved it.
I kind of disagree with the stuff at the start. I felt it was all necessary, and I didn't hate it. I liked that they were building something, because that's the biggest part of Ted Bundy and why so many people are fascinated with him, is because you had this dude who he was fairly smart. He wasn't amazingly smart, actually. Like, he had like B's through most of like his grades were mostly B's. So he's not like your mega genius, but he was so well spoken. He was a very attractive guy. He was good with ladies, all this stuff. And he broke the mold as to what people figured serial killers would be. You always think of serial killers as these like deformed creatures who come out, like, you know, even look at somebody like Richard Ramirez, where you're looking at somebody like that, where he's kind of a creepy looking dude. He's very satanic, very weird. Bundy was not any of these things. He was that whole like killer next door thing.
He was the family man too.
Exactly. There was all this stuff. He was the extremes of who Bundy was when he was committing his crimes versus Bundy as a person. You know, there's stories about the lady who worked with him at a suicide call center. He worked at a suicide call center.
And that's one thing that happens near the beginning of it, is when he first gets apprehended, there's a woman comes up to him and goes, "Oh, hey there, stranger." That's like supposed to be Anne Rule, the writer of Stranger Beside Me. So I was like, that's a little like, just get it. Like, I get it, but like, I think it's a little like tidbit for the fans.
Yeah. But I think you have to have, I do agree though, is they don't feed you everything in this. So for a lot of casual people who go like, "Oh, I've heard of Ted Bundy, I want to know what this is all about," you're not going to get that.
I think you're not going to get them. It.
I guess so, but you're not going to get that meat and potatoes that you wanted. Like I think that's where a lot of people's problems were. Is I think a lot of people were expecting a very gruesome house that Jack built level of film.
I think also the marketing didn't do them any favors in making people like, because I thought that, and I wasn't disappointed that it wasn't that, but I just thought like the whole how they were going to shelve it and everything. I'm like, for what though? Like this is the only thing offensive about it is that like it's bringing up memories for the families and the victims and everything. But I feel like they actually handled all that pretty well. Like they didn't show any gratuitous violence or people getting strangled.
Well, the only violence they've shown it even in the trailer. Yeah. So you're kind of given that like, oh, I'm going to see something, and that's all you got, which is very tasteful for them to do. I
think it's a very tasteful movie in the way that they
So that leads me to a couple of questions: is who is this made for? As someone who liked this movie, I want to know who it was made for, and this ties into my next question: is this is not a question, more of a statement? This is not a Netflix movie.
What do you mean?
First and foremost, not that like Netflix obviously owns this movie, but this is not a Netflix movie.
They bought it.
I know that's not what I mean though. When you think of Netflix and you think of they got these properties and they put it in that little banner at the top. When you sign in, you click as Mitch, you sign in, and that's across the top. This is not a Netflix movie. This is not a let's banner this shit because people click on that right away. You know, the new thing or whatever.
They got like their algorithms that can pick up on like what's popular, and the Bundy tapes were really popular.
I agree, but this is not a film that should just be out there on the main page, and that's me personally saying that is that yes, it had a ton of hype going in, but and yes, the subject matter a lot of people found interesting, especially piggybacking off of the documentary. Yeah, but this was a very serious film, and it's basically a drama. There's not a lot of horror, and this is a straight-up drama film, and I feel that that's kind of why you're getting such a big backlash from it, from fans, and getting these one-star ratings. It's because people didn't want to see this. They wanted, like, okay, we had the documentary, we know what happened, and the documentary also shied away from a lot of the violence. Yeah. They sometimes showed, like, pictures of skulls and stuff, but they never went too deep into it. Neither did this film. They glossed over so much of what made Ted Bundy and did this kind of drama where it's focusing more on his girlfriend, his fiance, his relationships, and then the court trial, which is like I said before, where all his character came through. But people didn't want to watch that. There's this sick fascination that people wanted a really gross movie.
Yeah, they wanted a horror movie.
They wanted to see him attack women. Yeah. They wanted to see not see it, but they wanted to see or hear more of talkings about the necrophilia, all the cannibalism, all that sort of thing, and it never went there. And I don't think it should have. But at the same time, that's where I'm saying it's not a Netflix movie. I don't think this is something that should be across the banner. This should be something for people who want to go out and find this. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking it's getting such a big backlash.
Yeah, it's almost like identical to Hold the Dark. Like the same thing happened with Hold the Dark, where that's a movie that that was a Netflix movie that was put out there, and like if more people are seeing your movie, you're going to have more backlash, and especially this isn't like. I think the reviews would be different for people going I'm talking about general audience, not critics. Yeah. Like general audience wouldn't go out to see, like, I guarantee you a fraction of a quarter of the people who saw Hold the Dark would have went out to theaters to see Hold the Dark.
And I do like that you'd mentioned that. That's what I mean when you can look at Hold the Dark. That's not a Netflix movie. Well, or if it is, it's in the back catalog. This is when I say Netflix movie, I mean when you splash that across the front of your thing, or what's new, and that's
it's the tentpole movie of the weekend.
Exactly. That tentpole for this month. It doesn't feel like a Netflix movie that way.
It's not like what's that, Bright? Like
Bright was like a Netflix movie.
Like that's like accessible for everybody. But the thing is, I think at the same time, I thought Netflix was an interesting home for it. But I did know right off the bat, like, Netflix movies don't get the same day in court that other movies do. Like, because they get immediate backlash because so many more people are going to be able to see it, and that means that there's going to be a lot of people who aren't generally interested in these types of things who are just going to turn on it.
And you're 100% right. You have these people who pay their, what is it, $10.99 a month?
Yeah, less.
Whatever it is a month, and they're going, I'm getting a ton of movies in my face, and I don't like this one because I watched it. You're 100% right. Where if this had come out where it was a VOD streaming thing where, like, I could go and rent it on, let's say, iTunes instead of it being a Netflix kind of thing, I think you're going to have more of a positive reaction, because there are going to be a lot of people who are just watching it and they're realizing that this is more of a crime drama than it ever will be getting down and dirty with the gross shit.
Have you seen The Iceman?
Yes, that is not a good movie.
Okay, but that's the thing is, and I think debatably it's not a good movie, and I think that like a lot of the same things happened with that is that they do rush through so much of that story, and
they don't hold on anything.
No, and it's like they were trying to appeal to more people and make it more exciting, and it's like Iceman shouldn't be exciting, and like there are times where it's almost like an action movie, but I feel like this was like it suffers from a lot of the same things. But Michael Shannon was amazing as the Iceman. I thought he was a really good Iceman, but that's what like. The first little bit of this movie, I felt like I don't think that The Iceman's a good movie, but I think it's like it's not terrible. It's something that you can watch to pass the time.
Yeah, and
I could understand someone liking it.
Yeah, and I maybe it's me being that casual fan who I bought.
About the Iceman tapes.
I knew all about it, and I bought it, and I went, I don't really.
Oh, dude! The first time I saw it, I just finished watching the like 3-hour Iceman tapes or Iceman conversations with the Iceman or whatever.
Yeah,
and I was just like, this is bullshit. And then I watched it again like a couple years later, kind of removed from that. And I'm like, oh no, it's an entertaining crime thriller, true crime movie. But it's pretty polished up.
But should they be treated like that? That's kind of a big overarching question.
I think Extremely Wicked is treated the same way. I think that like for the most part, but like it's just you just can't deny how good. And I know like it sounds so cliche because everyone's like that's the most shocking thing is that Zac Efron is playing Ted Bundy, one of the most notorious serial killers. And it's like there's this charming, likable guy. But really, he does do a really good job with it. And, like, he turns into that character at certain times. I feel like the first little bit, I didn't buy him. And then it's as soon as he gets in the blue suit and he's in the courtroom, I was just like, man, he's turned the charm up to 11. And I kind of bought all of his motives and all of, like, him there's multiple times escaping. I was so into it at that point.
They were, speaking of that, talking about the escape and everything, they did such a good job of showing basically a montage without you feeling like, oh, this is a montage.
That's what I felt the first little bit was a montage though.
Yeah.
That's like I felt like it was just like, okay, let's catch you up to this, but at the same time the movie was kind of presented in a way where it's like, did he do it or did he not? And it's like everyone knows that Ted Bundy's guilty. But I know that they're trying to portray it from I think they had like 5 movies they were trying to make here. And I think that like each of them like were decent, but if they would have just focused on one thing, like if they wanted to go the route which they led so heavily, they like leaned really heavily into his relationship with his girlfriend. And that's a really interesting
and also
aspect
her daughter,
of the story.
the family.
That's a really interesting aspect of the story. But as soon as the weight starts being built up in those scenes, it switches to something else, and it's just like, hey, but this was also going on. It's like, okay, but you skip past a bunch of other shit already too. That like, I don't know, I feel like he was trying to make you guess. Did he do it? Did he not?
Yeah.
And it's just like you could have gotten rid of that. Like I don't think it was necessary for something that's so notorious as it is.
I do enjoy though that this was a multi-layered, where you're saying that you didn't like it because it was jumping between a bunch. I kind of enjoyed that idea of it would go back and forth with his girlfriend. So it would go back because Ted's our main character, but also the girlfriend is the main character, and we go back and forth. So you don't see her for a little while, or if you do, it's a very small scene. Yeah. But I like that they kept coming back to it. It never felt like they just dumped her off along the way, because she basically was kind of the end of the movie as well.
Well, that's why I think at its strongest is in that last scene with him and her, like in the prison.
Yes,
that's like the best scene in the movie, and it is just like so well acted. So like you can. Like I'm not bullshitting this. I watched that scene twice. Like the last half hour, I watched it twice.
So I think we're talking about the same scene, which I thought was my favorite as well, is the hacksaw scene.
Yeah.
Yes. That fantastic.
It's unreal. Yeah. And that's what because I remember even Courtney and I, when we were watching it, we I think it was like 40 minutes in, we were just like, this is kind of disappointing, but like I'm not bored, but it's kind of disappointing. And then by the end of it, we're like, holy fuck, that took a turn. Like that was just like, and it's like, I don't know, it was just watching good acting is just entertaining. And I fully bought them in those scenes.
I 100%. I know everybody, it's going to be so common for everyone to say it, is I thought Zac Efron was fantastic.
He was really
good. What's the deal with like companies plucking out Disney stars to be serial killers?
I know.
That's 2. There's got to be more.
I know.
But
even look at like Selena Gomez and Spring Breakers. Like,
I guess here's our edgy film.
Yeah,
we're multi-talented.
Yeah, well, it's just like, hey, we're not. This ain't your daddy's Selena anymore.
This ain't your daddy's Disney Channel.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the other thing I want to get to, and this is something where I personally wanted to talk about, because I know people love the whole, or we're kind of more of an age of political correctness. And I feel like sometimes I'm not always on the same page, not because I feel like I'm an asshole. I just feel like we're too coddling to everything always.
That isn't even debatable. It is the truth.
Okay,
the world is too fucking sensitive.
I know, but I feel like sometimes I maybe take flack for not being the most sensitive of our group.
Have you heard any of our show?
No, but I feel like sometimes you do a very good job of being more sensitive to subject matter.
Oh, so you're talking about like how you sniff panties? And
yeah,
stuff.
Okay. But what I'm getting at is, there's as much as I did enjoy this film, there was a creeping sense throughout it that they were selling Ted Bundy as a sympathetic character. And I did not like that part of it, especially the one scene in particular that really made me go like, come on, is when he had that picture that the daughter had drawn in his jail cell and he was looking at that.
Yeah.
There's too much of that sort of thing where it's watching him fall apart, where you're going like, poor Ted, he's having a real tough time. Or when they took because this actually happened when they took the molds of his teeth.
Yeah.
And it's I'm the bad guy district attorney and I'm going to make you fry because this is Florida. And it's stuff like that where you're going, even the camera angles had it at like, it was a low camera angle facing upwards. So you're seeing this guy as like the bad guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's all about even how it was shot. It made it seem like a lot of people who were in the wrong, and you were kind of on Ted's side. And that's the thing I really didn't like about this movie.
I think that's what its strength is too, though. Like that, like, and that's why I feel like I think we have the same overall feelings about this movie, but we disagree on some major things.
Yeah.
And that's why I think where the movie's at its strongest is when they're trying to convince you to side with him, and because like in the end you're gonna know he's a monster, but he's so narcissistic, and he's like, I think he's so. Like you were talking about how he wasn't a brilliant guy. Like he's not like a real smart dude. Like,
well, he was
intelligent enough.
He was very intelligent, but he wasn't like a mastermind. But then you look at all the shit he did. Man, he was very clever.
Yeah, look at but there's so many people that you can just like. Everyone's really, really good at one thing. Like there's, for example, I have people.
Unless you're Michael Jordan, then you're good at two things.
Exactly. But.
Or O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
But okay.
No, but okay, so like there's people that I work with who can't spell basic English, but they can fucking rock their job, and they're so good at that.
I've noticed a lot of that. I've seen people who are fantastic at building things or that sort of thing, and math and all this stuff, but they don't know the difference between there, and there.
Yeah, and that's even like that's advanced geometry to them, or like chemistry. Like
it's like your phone autocorrects this. How can you spell this wrong?
I know, yeah. Like, but there's everyone there. Like, I truthfully believe that everybody in the world is really, really good at one thing.
Are you thinking the same thing I'm thinking of?
That he's really good at being a narcissist.
No, I was going to say that everyone's good at something. Remember that PSA commercial from the 90s? Where it's like, everyone's good at something. Here, I'm good at dinosaur sounds. Brrr. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's what I thought you were going with.
Is that the one Tommy cut me in half?
Yeah, Tommy cut me in half. And kids, be kids.
Yeah. You wouldn't download a fucking car. Sorry, that's a different PSA. But
I hope somebody knows what we're talking about. That was splashed everywhere in the 90s.
Oh, I know. But no, like, I feel like Ted was at his best at just fooling people. Like, he was good at just being a completely different human. Like he would change his mannerisms.
He was very much a chameleon, if you will, because he changed completely when he went to Florida. He was living a whole different life. Yeah, and it was even something as simple as how he did his hair. Yeah, or
he's trying to figure out how to be a human. Like he's not a human, but he knows how to fool people, how to trick people, and that's like
he's like the Thing.
He is, yeah. But
basically.
like that's what. So that's what I figured it was like. That's where its strengths were, because. But at the same time, it also fails at that because it's like, but we all already know that Ted's a monster. Like, this isn't, it isn't just like a fictional thing. We know how this ends.
Yeah, I will agree though, is that it does a really good job because yes, it is painting that picture of you kind of sympathize with the Zac Efron character throughout the film. But then when you get to that hacksaw scene,
you watch him crack in the hacksaw scene.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was talking. As soon as that hacksaw thing, it's his face changes.
His face changes completely. Like he is so like he means it with every fiber of his being that he did not do these things, and then you watch him just crack.
Yeah, it's finally like he's showing a little bit of who Ted really is.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's why it's the most chilling scene in the movie. But there's multiple times where they do that throughout the movie where he's this charming guy or he's this guy that you should trust. And like, you know, the whole thing with like what you mentioned, him hanging that picture in his cell. I think he did that to fool people. I think he didn't actually care. Mm-hmm. I think he methodically did that so because he's like, this is what humans do. And this is
I understand that, but I mean, it just for me,
there's a dumb audience watching.
Yeah, for me, it felt like that scene was too much. Like, our poor guy Ted's down on his luck. You know, you shouldn't have that level of sympathy for him. No, but I understand you can look at it objectively as like this is a person living their life, and you know they're getting what they deserve. But
they do that a lot in My Friend Dahmer. Mm-hmm. Like you really sympathize with him. But like, I feel like that's where they kind of bring it back. When Ted's mom comes into the picture,
see, like, and even that upset me.
Really, I thought because he looked like a fucking asshole there. Mm-hmm. I thought, and like that's where I thought like he seemed like everyone, like especially Caroline Boone, who actually married this psychopath and has a kid. Do you know anything? Like, no one knows about his actual daughter. Hey,
whether it is his actual daughter or not,
Katy Perry.
What?
No, you know the whole. There's the theory that Katy Perry is John Benet Ramsey.
Is this a thing?
Yeah, that's one of the theories. This. Yeah, it's proven that it's not, but that's what I was saying. Maybe Ted Bundy's daughter is Katy Perry.
Like in the basic idea of it, people do think that yes, he actually does have a daughter out there, mm-hmm. but whether or not that's true is a different thing because some people think that she had gotten impregnated by somebody else and was trying to use that to get whatever money he had. Really? for the child and herself after he was dead.
Oh, because they don't really touch on that in the movie at all.
No, and that's another one of those kind of things that if you're making a movie, you kind of gloss over those details because nobody will ever know. Like Caroline Boone is never gonna say one way or another. She's taking whatever information she has and whatever happened between those two to her grave.
Yeah, and she still believed him like fully.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is you have a very delusional and you're seeing this in the movie is they do show her as a very delusional person because even he treats her differently when he starts thinking about his ex-girlfriend, and how he's still obsessed with her, and then she's kind of like Caroline's kind of like a tool for him basically, and he was using her as a tool.
Yeah, totally.
But it is rough when you see something like you're seeing the scene where I loved at the end. That's one of the first times I've ever fully watched a movie all the way through the credits.
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at your shirt. Oh, Buzi's wearing the funniest. That's my favorite shirt in the entire world. It's Kevin from The Office dropping.
It's the chili incident scene, and it's 3 bars on my shirt of the chili incident.
Yeah. Oh my god. I'm sorry. Continue. I've been looking at it the whole time, but for some reason, when things got serious, I looked at his face and I started. That's one of my favorite moments in the whole show.
But yeah, when you have stuff with like his mom, where you feel terrible because she raised you kind of put yourself in those shoes because she had to go through that.
You feel so bad for her.
Yeah, no parent ever fully abandons their kid.
No,
I truthfully believe even if your parents are so far removed from your life, there's a small part of you, and some people it's bigger than others. And for her, no matter what he had done, that at the end of the day, that's still her kid.
Yeah.
And like you feel for her in that.
Yeah. There are shitty people out there who abandon kids because they're shitty people.
Yeah.
But then, like, when we're talking about, like, a loving mother is not going to believe that her son is a mass murderer who's raping and, like, killing women.
And I think, honestly, even if she knew that he was. And
I think, she did. And she has done, there's stuff in the Bundy tapes where they went over and they, where she just pretty much kind of pretended like it didn't happen. And then she, like, had people over for tea.
I feel like you'd have to bury that shit somewhere in your brain that just, it's in one of those boxes. Do not open.
Yeah. That was, like, one of the most effective parts of the Bundy tapes for me was the mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was. And let's talk about who plays the judge again?
John Malkovich. He is so fucking good in this movie.
Fucking incredible.
Yeah, like that's okay. So like I don't want to make it sound like I'm praising this movie either because I gave it a 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd.
Okay, so
and
it's a straight up.
Well, it's just like it's a good movie.
That's a token review. A 3 out of 5 is a token review.
I don't think so. I think it's fine. Like, and I think those are movies that are perfectly okay. Like
Yeah.
that's I gave the Tunnel 3 out of 10.
And I'll watch this movie again.
I
Is
will
it my
too.
favorite? No. Do I love it? No. But I'll watch it again.
Yeah, like it's.
I harbor no ill will to this movie.
Well, I don't think it's a bad movie the way that some people are saying that it is, but I also can understand not loving it. But
It's not a 1-star movie. Let's just go with
no,
that.
definitely not. But it is. There are some really good things to be found in this movie, but some of it, like just where we. Oh yeah, John Malkovich. Fuck, is he so good in this movie?
He played everything so well, and you believed him as this character this judge who was trying his best to be impartial the whole time.
Yeah.
And how and it's all based on things that actually happened. So like, the judge was thoroughly impressed with Ted Bundy the entire time. So it's going through, and you can see there's that admiration.
Yeah.
And then you have that final speech where he's like, "I would have loved to have worked with you.
Yeah, you would have been a good lawyer."
You would have been
like, that's
all that,
sad though.
Yeah,
like, it's
and
sickening.
all that you can tell is that there is some genuine remorse that he has to sentence this dude to the death penalty, because he even says, "I have no ill will towards you as a person, but you're gonna fry for this."
Yeah,
and that's true. And then, like I was saying, is the credits were great. I really enjoyed the fact, like, I don't usually watch credits for movies because nothing interesting happens. But this it was taking actual footage and playing it, so you can go like, oh, here's Ted Bundy in court. And then you because the movie's so fresh in your mind, you go, oh, Zac Efron did a really good job here. And the judge, John Malkovich.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they all did a really good job. It was John Malkovich's best role since he was Cyrus the Damn Virus in Con Air. He was awesome in Con Air.
That's such a random pull.
That's one of my favorites. Like, I love that movie.
Like, you're the only guy in the world who's like, John Malkovich's best role is
Cyrus the Damn Virus. No, but yeah, I think we can wrap it up here. But it was just like, yeah, it was a fine movie. I'm happy that I watched it. But like, I'd be lying if I wasn't a little bit disappointed. But I know I'll watch it again. For sure, I'll watch it again. But wasn't what I was expecting. But it's a fine movie.
And if you weren't if you wanted the gory truth and that sort of thing, there are documentaries that do that. Go search those out. This isn't what this is for, and that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, it's not a Netflix movie.
No, I think it's definitely for, like, I think My Friend Dahmer was treaded similar territory. Yeah, like it went about things in the same way, and I think My Friend Dahmer is like a far, far, far superior movie. But I do think that Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile, which I just finally learned how to say when it came out on Netflix. Yeah. Like, for the year building up to this, I'm like, what the fuck is that movie called again? Like, it's just like, it's like a Panic at the Disco song.
Yeah.
It just goes on forever.
It is kind of rough. It's like, that's a mouthful right there.
Yeah, it is. But at the same time, it'll be memorable because it's that movie that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still recommend people giving it a watch, especially if you're a fan of true crime. But definitely don't expect the house that Jack built or the crazy, gross movie that people are expecting this to be. Which I think it's a good thing that it's not that.
Yeah, you know what? I think we've covered pretty much anything. I don't know if you have anything to.
No. Let's pack it up and we'll talk about Ghost Watch next week with hopefully Diego. Otherwise, it'll be just us again.
I have one quick thing as an outro for us, because every time we have a guest, they get to pick an outro song. Oh, yes. Today, I'm picking my own outro. Yes. And no one's going to like it except for me.
Is it Old Town Road?
No, it's not Old Town. You know what? Next time you can have your own pickup music.
Okay.
Anyway, if you don't like extreme deathcore, do not listen to the end of this. This is a snippet of Moths by Drown in Sulfur.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.